Observer 12 stared at the holographic display with all four of its eyes, unable to believe what the sensors were telling him. The strange beings on the planet below, these humans, were deliberately lying on beaches and beside pools, exposing their fragile bodies to harmful ultraviolet radiation. Even more baffling, they seemed to be enjoying it. "Computer, run diagnostic check on monitoring equipment," Observer 12 commanded, its silver skin reflecting the soft blue light of the ship's interior. The computer beeped in response. All systems functioning at optimal efficiency. No errors detected. Observer 12 made another note in its official report. Day 47 of Earth observation. The humans continue their bizarre self-destructive behaviors. They appear to have developed a cultural obsession with darkening their skin through UV exposure, which they call tanning. Most puzzling is that they consider this damaged skin appearance to be aesthetically pleasing. The observer had been stationed in Earth's orbit for nearly 2 months now, carefully hidden behind advanced cloaking technology. The Galactic Research Council had detected unusual radiation patterns from this sector of space, but what they found was far stranger than anyone had expected. A movement on one of the other screens caught Observer 12's attention. The scene showed what appeared to be a human gathering place called a restaurant. The observer watched in horror as humans willingly consumed seeds from the plant genus capsicum, known throughout the galaxy for its production of capsaicin, a defensive neurotoxin. "Computer, magnify section C7, Observer 12 commanded. The screen zoomed in on a human male who was sweating profusely, his face red as he ate something called ghost pepper wings. Instead of seeking medical attention, nearby humans were cheering him on. Observer 12 quickly added to its report. The humans appear to have developed immunity to certain plant toxins and now consume them for entertainment. They have even created competitions around this dangerous activity. Further study needed to understand this apparent evolutionary aberration. Just then, the ship's alert system activated. Warning: detected high levels of trimethylxanthine consumption in Observation Zone 12B. Observer 12 quickly switched views to a human establishment designated as a coffee shop. Hundreds of humans were voluntarily ingesting high doses of trimethylxanthine, or as they called it, caffeine, a substance that interfered with sleep cycles and increased heart rate. Some humans were observed consuming this substance multiple times daily. "This defies all logical explanation," Observer 12 muttered, its antennae twitching in confusion. In any other species, such behavior would indicate severe mental dysfunction or a planetary-wide contamination event. But the humans appeared to have built entire industries around these harmful substances. The observer spent the next several hours documenting more peculiarities. Humans deliberately entering cold bodies of water for fun, engaging in high-impact activities called sports that risked skeletal damage, and consuming fermented substances that impaired their cognitive functions at social gatherings. As the Earth's sun set over the observation area, Observer 12 prepared its daily summary for the Galactic Research Council. Urgent report. Earth observation day 47. The species designated as humans continues to display behaviors that challenge our understanding of survival instincts. They actively seek out experiences that cause physical discomfort, regularly consume known toxins, and appear to derive pleasure from activities that other species would categorize as dangerous or harmful. Preliminary hypothesis: the planet's inhabitants may be suffering from a species-wide neurological condition that has altered their risk assessment capabilities. However, their continued technological advancement and population growth suggest these behaviors might serve some yet unknown evolutionary purpose. Recommendation: upgrade Earth's research priority status. The humans' apparent ability to thrive despite engaging in objectively harmful activities warrants deeper investigation. These beings are either extremely resilient or extremely foolish. At this point, I cannot determine which is more likely. End report. Observer 12. Galactic Research Council *. The observer powered down its main viewing screens, leaving only the essential monitoring systems active. As it prepared for its rest cycle, Observer 12 couldn't help but wonder, what other bizarre behaviors would tomorrow's observations reveal? And more importantly, how had these seemingly self-destructive creatures managed to become one of the dominant species on their planet? The answers, it suspected, would only raise more questions. Medical Officer Tom Reed stood before the alien delegation in the International Space Station's conference room, trying not to smile at their increasingly distressed expressions. The three representatives from the Galactic Research Council sat across from him, their silvery skin shifting colors as he explained human biology. "So you see," Reed continued, pointing to the holographic display, "when we exercise, we actually create tiny tears in our muscle fibers. The body then repairs these tears, making the muscles stronger than before." Observer 12, who had been studying Earth for the past 2 months, raised all 4 hands in alarm. "You deliberately damage your bodies to make them stronger." "Exactly." Reed grinned, making the aliens shift uncomfortably in their seats. "It's the same principle with our bones. Controlled stress makes them denser and more resilient." Observer 34 leaned forward, its antennae twitching rapidly. "Our scans show that your skeletal structure has experienced multiple fractures throughout your life." Officer Reed. "Oh yeah," Reed nodded casually. "Broke my arm twice as a kid, once falling from a tree, once playing hockey. Broke a few ribs in a skiing accident too. All healed up perfectly fine." The third alien, Observer 67, was rapidly typing notes into a floating datapad. "And you continued these dangerous activities after experiencing such severe damage." Reed laughed, causing all 3 aliens to flinch. "Of course, can't let a few broken bones stop you from living life. In fact, I went skiing again as soon as my ribs healed." The holographic display switched to show human cardiovascular systems. "Now here's something really interesting," Reed continued. "Our hearts actually get stronger when we push them to their limits. We call it cardio training." Observer 12's skin turned a pale blue, a sign of extreme distress. "You stress your primary circulatory organ intentionally?" "Sure do. Most humans do some form of cardio exercise several times a week. Running, swimming, cycling. Anything that gets the heart rate up." The aliens huddled together, whispering in their musical language before turning back to Reed. Observer 34 spoke hesitantly. "We have observed humans in something called gyms, lifting heavy objects repeatedly. Please explain the purpose of this clearly harmful behavior." Reed walked over to the wall and placed his palm against it. "See these calluses on my hands? They formed because I regularly expose my skin to friction and pressure. The same principle applies to weight training. Controlled stress makes us stronger." The alien stared at his hands in horror. Observer 67 spoke up. "Your species intentionally hardens its protective outer layer and considers this beneficial." "Absolutely. Look, I know it seems strange to you, but humans are incredibly adaptable. We can survive in temperatures from well below freezing to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Our bodies can heal from amazing amounts of damage. We can even regrow parts of our liver if necessary." Observer 12's datapad clattered to the floor. "Your internal organs regenerate." "Some of them, yes. Our skin repairs itself, our bones knit back together, and our muscles grow stronger after being stressed. We're built to adapt and overcome." The aliens conferred again, their antennae intertwining in what Reed had learned was a sign of deep concern. Finally, Observer 12 turned back to him. "Medical Officer Reed, we have one final question. Our scans show that you recently experienced a muscle strain in your lower back, yet you are here conducting this briefing rather than resting in a medical facility. Please explain this apparent disregard for your physical welfare." Reed shrugged. "It's just a pulled muscle. Took some anti-inflammatory medicine, did some stretches, and got on with my day." can't let every little ache and pain stop you. The alien stared at him in silence for a long moment before Observer 12 spoke again, its voice barely a whisper. "What is wrong with your species?" Reed smiled warmly at them. "Nothing's wrong with us. This is how we've survived and thrived. Every challenge we overcome makes us stronger. It's not just our bodies, it's our whole approach to life. Speaking of which, would any of you like to join me in the station's gym? I could show you some basic exercises." All three aliens backed away hastily, their skin cycling through various shades of distress. As they hurried out of the conference room, Reed could hear them urgently discussing the need for an emergency update to their research protocols. He chuckled to himself as he gathered his materials. Sometimes he forgot just how strange humans must seem to other species. But then again, being strange had gotten humanity pretty far. Observer 12 sat in the monitoring station, completely baffled by the data streaming across multiple screens. After 2 weeks of studying human entertainment, nothing made sense anymore. The alien researcher turned to its new human liaison, Officer Pete Wilson, who was trying not to laugh at the observer's obvious confusion. "Let me understand this correctly," Observer 12 said, its antennae twitching rapidly. "These humans paid money to enter this dark room together. A movie theater," Wilson helped. "Yes, this movie theater, to watch something called The Haunting, which made them feel afraid." Wilson nodded, grinning. "It's a horror movie. People love getting scared in a safe environment. The adrenaline rush is fun." Observer 12's skin rippled in distress. "They seek out artificial fear for entertainment." "Sure do. Look at this." Wilson pulled up footage from a theme park. "See these people waiting in line. They're about to ride something called a roller coaster. It simulates the feeling of falling and near-death experiences. Listen to them scream." The alien watched in horror as humans strapped themselves into metal vehicles that hurled them through the air at dangerous speeds. Even more shocking were the faces of the humans after the ride. They were smiling, laughing, and immediately getting back in line to do it again. "Computer, display entertainment category analysis," Observer 12 commanded. Multiple charts appeared on the main screen. "According to our research, humans also consume entertainment that makes them sad." "Oh yeah, tearjerkers are super popular," Wilson explained. "Sometimes you just want to watch a good movie that makes you cry. It's cathartic." Observer 12's skin turned a pale blue. "You deliberately seek out emotional pain." "Not just sad movies," Wilson continued, clearly enjoying the alien's increasing distress. "We also have tragic plays, heart-wrenching novels, and songs about breakups and loss. Some of our most popular entertainment is specifically designed to make us feel emotional pain." The alien researcher quickly typed notes into its floating data pad. Humans appear to be the only known species that deliberately seeks out negative emotional experiences for pleasure. Further study needed to understand this apparent psychological malfunction. "But wait," Wilson said, switching to another screen. "Have you seen our competitive entertainment yet?" The display showed humans engaging in various sports activities. Observer 12 watched as humans tackled each other in something called football, punched each other in boxing, and hurled themselves down frozen mountains on flimsy boards in skiing. "These are not survival training exercises?" the alien asked hopefully. Wilson laughed. "Nope, just fun. And look at these people. They're watching others play these dangerous games. We call them fans. They get emotionally invested in teams, cry when they lose, celebrate when they win. Some people paint their bodies in team colors and sit shirtless in freezing weather to show support." Observer 12's data pad clattered to the floor. "They risk hypothermia to watch others play games." Speaking of watching others, Wilson continued gleefully, pulling up a video platform. "Have you seen our challenge videos yet? People film themselves eating incredibly spicy foods, jumping into ice water, or doing dangerous stunts, just to entertain others." The alien's skin was now cycling through various shades of distress, and humans watched these videos, voluntarily. Billions of views, Wilson confirmed. Oh, and here's something really interesting. Escape rooms. We pay money to be locked in a room and solve puzzles to get out. Some people do this for fun on their weekends. Observer 12 stared at the human for a long moment before speaking. Officer Wilson, in my species, seeking out fear, pain, or emotional distress would be cause for immediate psychological evaluation. Wilson shrugged. Well, we figure life's going to throw plenty of scary and sad things at you anyway. Might as well learn to find the fun in fear and the beauty in sadness. Makes us better at handling the real thing when it comes along. The alien researcher looked back at the screens, watching humans laugh, scream, cry, and cheer at their various forms of entertainment. After a long moment, it added one final note to its report. Asterisk possible hypothesis. Human entertainment choices may not indicate mental instability, but rather an advanced form of psychological adaptation. Their ability to transform negative experiences into sources of pleasure could explain their species' remarkable resilience. Though I still think they're all completely crazy asterisk. The emergency alarms blared throughout the Mars colony's main dome, their piercing sound mixing with the colony's automated warning system. Alert. Massive solar flare detected. Radiation shield failure imminent. All personnel proceed to evacuation vessels immediately. Observer 12 watched from the Galactic Council's observation post as various alien species rushed to their ships. The Zentari abandoned their botanical experiments, the Merriks left their quantum computers running, and the Tellurians didn't even power down their atmospheric processors. But the humans were acting strange again. What do you mean you're staying? Observer 12's voice crackled over the emergency channel as it watched a group of 5 humans heading toward the shield control center instead of the evacuation pods. Someone has to manually maintain the shields until the automated systems can be repaired, answered Chief Engineer Alan Baker, his voice calm despite the situation. If we leave, we'll lose the whole colony and 3 years of research. The alien skin flickered between shades of anxiety. The radiation levels will be lethal within 6 hours. Then we better fix it in 5, Baker replied. Another alarm blared in the background. Look, we've got a plan. We'll work in shifts of 15 minutes each to minimize exposure. The repair bay is shielded enough to let us recover between shifts. Observer 12 watched in disbelief as the humans organized themselves with practiced efficiency. They divided tasks, set up a rotation schedule, and began their dangerous work. The alien researcher couldn't help but notice they were even making jokes as they took turns exposing themselves to dangerous levels of radiation. Hey Baker, called out Technician James through his radiation suit's comm. If I start glowing, think of all the money I'll save on flashlights. Just focus on the coupling repairs, you walking nightlight. Baker shot back with a laugh that seemed entirely inappropriate for the situation. Hour after hour, the humans worked. Observer 12 monitored their life signs with growing concern. Their radiation exposure was climbing steadily, yet they refused to abandon their posts. Even more baffling, when the Galactic Council offered to send automated repair drones, the humans declined. With all respect to the Council's drones, Baker explained while gulping down water during his recovery period, they're not clever enough to handle the on-the-fly adjustments we need. This is a human job. 4 hours into the crisis, Technician Rita collapsed during her shift. The others immediately adapted their rotation to cover for her, shortening their rest periods despite the increased risk. Your cellular damage is approaching critical levels, Observer 12 warned them. You must evacuate now. Can't do that, Baker replied, his voice hoarse. We're too close. Besides, there's something else we haven't told you. The colony's biological sample vault contains the cure for a rare disease. 3 years of work. If we lose it, we're setting medical research back by decades. The alien researcher's antennae drooped in resignation. You're risking your lives for research samples. Not just samples, James cut in, his breathing heavy as he worked on a circuit panel. Hope. Those samples are hope for millions of people back on Earth. We're not letting that die. With just 30 minutes until the predicted shield failure, Baker's team made their final push. Their vital signs were alarming, their radiation doses far beyond safe limits. But they kept working. Observer 12 watched in amazement as the humans pushed through pain, exhaustion, and the very real possibility of death. Finally, with just 12 minutes to spare, the shield stabilized. The automated systems came back online, and the crisis passed. As medical teams rushed to treat the radiation exposure, Observer 12 filed its emergency report to the Galactic Council. * Emergency Observation Report. Mars Colony Incident. Today I witnessed humans willingly risk death not for glory, not for wealth, but for the preservation of knowledge and the chance to help others. They rejected safer alternatives because they trusted their own adaptability over automated systems. Previous hypothesis regarding human behavior requires significant revision. What we perceived as reckless disregard for safety may instead be an extraordinary combination of self-sacrifice, determination, and problem-solving capability. Most importantly, humans don't just endure hardship, they seem to perform their best when facing impossible odds. This characteristic alone makes them unique among all known species. Note: requesting immediate review of human classification in Galactic Database. Suggested new category: exceptionally resilient. Handle with respect. The observation room at the Galactic Council's research station was silent except for the soft hum of monitoring equipment. Through the one-way transparent walls, Observer 12 watched the 4 isolation chambers with growing fascination. Each chamber contained a representative from a different spacefaring species, all participating in what the Council called the Solidarity Study. The experiment was simple: place individuals in identical living spaces for 30 days with no external contact. Provide them with basic necessities, but no entertainment or communication devices. Then observe how different species cope with isolation. Display vital signs comparison. Observer 12 commanded. 4 sets of data appeared on the floating screen before it. In Chamber 1, the Zentari representative had entered a meditation state days ago, barely moving except for essential functions. In Chamber 2, the Merrick subject had organized every item in their room into perfect geometric patterns before becoming nearly dormant. The Tellurian in Chamber 3 spent most of their time sleeping. But Chamber 4 was absolute chaos. Mark Thompson, the human subject, had transformed his living space in ways that defied explanation. He had turned his bed sheets into a makeshift rope to create an exercise system. His food containers had become musical instruments. And most bafflingly, he had named his furniture. "Good morning, Bob." Observer 12 watched as Thompson cheerfully greeted his pillow. "And how are you today, Susan?" he asked his drinking cup. The alien researcher quickly added to its notes, *Day 15. Human subject continues to display signs of what would be considered serious mental deterioration in other species, yet his vital signs indicate he is functioning normally. Computer, replay night cycle recording. Observer 12 commanded. The screen showed Thompson using his food tray and cup to create rhythmic patterns, what he called music, and then dancing to it. He had also used his soap to draw elaborate pictures on his bathroom mirror, creating what he called his art gallery. "Most fascinating," muttered Research Director 7, who had just entered the observation room. While other subjects are merely enduring their isolation, the human appears to be creating. "Indeed," Observer 12 replied. "He has developed 27 different games to play by himself, created a daily exercise routine, and even started writing what he calls a novel using the condensation on his bathroom wall." They watched as Thompson began his latest project, creating shadow puppets on the wall using the room's lighting and his hands. He had developed an entire story about these shadow shapes and provided different voices for each character. "Should we end the experiment?" Research Director 7 asked with concern. In most species, this level of unusual behavior would indicate severe psychological stress. Actually, Observer 12 responded, checking the human's vital signs. His stress hormones are within normal ranges. If anything, these activities appear to be keeping him mentally healthy. The next week brought even more surprises. Thompson had created an imaginary game show called Who Wants to Win a Million Space Credits? With his furniture as contestants. He had developed a complex mathematical formula using soap bubbles in his shower. He had even started teaching his cup Susan to sing. As the experiment entered its final days, the differences between the subjects became stark. The Zentari was completely withdrawn, the Merrick's had stopped eating, and the Tellurian showed signs of depression. But Thompson, he was writing the final chapter of his condensation novel and planning a farewell concert with his makeshift instruments. On the last day, as the chambers were opened, Observer 12 filed its final report. Asterisk isolation study conclusions. While other species retreated into themselves or shut down, the human subject demonstrated remarkable adaptive capabilities. Instead of merely surviving isolation, he created entertainment from nothing, maintained physical and mental health through self-developed routines, showed extraordinary creativity in using limited resources, developed complex social behaviors even in the absence of actual social contact. Most significantly, the human turned isolation into an opportunity for growth and creation. What other species experienced as punishment, he transformed into a period of productivity and innovation. Additional note, the human has requested to stay an extra day to finish his novel. Request denied for the safety of the experimental furniture, which he has become quite attached to. Recommended update to Galactic Database. Humans possess unprecedented ability to adapt to and thrive in conditions that would cause severe psychological damage to other species. This may explain their rapid advancement as a civilization despite their numerous peculiarities. Personal addition. The human wants to take his cup Susan with him. After 15 days of singing lessons, he claims it would be cruel to separate them now. I find myself unable to determine if he is joking. The Joint Research Facility on Mars Colony buzzed with activity as scientists from various species worked on their assigned projects. Observer 12 had been tasked with studying human research methods, which had proven to be just as baffling as everything else about the species. You discovered this compound by accident. Observer 12 asked Dr. Amy Miller, its skin shifting to a shade of confusion as they stood in her laboratory. Yep, Dr. Miller grinned, holding up a Petri dish with a strange blue growth. I actually made a mistake with the temperature controls last week, left them running too high over the weekend. When I came back Monday, I found this interesting reaction had occurred. The alien researchers' antennae twitched rapidly. And instead of disposing of the contaminated sample and starting over, you studied the mistake. Of course, some of humanity's greatest discoveries happened by accident. Take penicillin. Fleming found it because his Petri dishes got moldy. Or X-rays. Röntgen discovered them while playing around with vacuum tubes. Even chocolate chip cookies were invented by mistake. Observer 12 quickly added to its notes. Asterisk humans appear to lack the standard scientific protocol of eliminating variables and maintaining strict control. They instead embraced chaos. Asterisk. Just then, a crash came from the neighboring lab, followed by excited shouting. Dr. Miller and Observer 12 rushed over to find Dr. Jack Moore surrounded by broken glass, but looking thrilled. I dropped the wrong solution into the test chamber, he explained excitedly, but look what it did to the metal sample. This could revolutionize our hull plating technology. The alien researcher watched in horror as other human scientists gathered around, taking readings and suggesting new tests instead of following proper accident protocols. Should we not evacuate the lab and file an incident report? Observer 12 asked nervously. What? No, this is the exciting part, Dr. Miller explained. Some of our best innovations come from unexpected results. We call it serendipity, finding good things you weren't looking for. Throughout the day, Observer 12 witnessed more of what other species would consider research disasters. A computer glitch led to an interesting data pattern. A mislabeled sample produced unexpected results. A scientist walking into the wrong lab at the wrong time made a connection between two seemingly unrelated projects. Most shockingly, the humans celebrated these accidents. During the afternoon briefing, Observer 12 sat with other alien researchers, all sharing similar stories of human research methods. They deliberately introduced random variables. One Zentari scientist complained. They encouraged their young scientists to play around with equipment. A Merrick's researcher added, clearly disturbed. They have a saying, Observer 12 noted, checking its datapad. If you don't blow something up occasionally, you're not doing real science. The room fell silent as Dr. Miller entered to give her presentation on recent breakthroughs. She pulled up a holographic display showing various human inventions. Microwave ovens, discovered when a chocolate bar melted in someone's pocket near radar equipment. Superglue, a failed attempt at making clear plastic gun sights. Vulcanized rubber, spilled on a hot stove by accident. The pacemaker, a mistake in building a heart recording device. The alien scientists watched in growing disbelief as she continued listing major human innovations that came from what they would consider failures. That evening, Observer 12 wrote its report to the Galactic Science Council. Asterisk research methodology analysis. Humans appear to have developed a unique approach to scientific discovery. While other species focus on eliminating variables and maintaining strict control, humans welcome unexpected results. Study their mistakes instead of discarding them. Encourage creative accidents. Share and celebrate their failures as learning opportunities. Most remarkably, this seemingly chaotic approach has led to numerous breakthrough discoveries. Their ability to find opportunity in error may explain their rapid technological advancement despite their relatively young civilization. Recommendation: consider implementing controlled accident allowance in galactic research protocols. However, warning labels may be needed. Human research methods, handle with care, may cause unexpected innovations. Asterisk. As Observer 12 finished its report, another crash echoed from the labs, followed by excited human voices. The alien researchers sighed and added one final note. Asterisk personal observation. Perhaps the humans aren't doing everything wrong. Sometimes it seems everything going wrong is exactly what needs to happen. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with anticipation. Representatives from 100 different species filled the circular room, their varied forms creating a living rainbow of colors and shapes. At the center podium stood Observer 12, its silver skin gleaming under the soft lights as it prepared to present its findings on humanity. Esteemed members of the Council, Observer 12 began, its voice carrying through the chamber. 6 months ago, we began our study of humans with a simple question: what is wrong with them? Today, I stand before you with an unexpected answer. Nothing is wrong with humans. In fact, what we perceive as flaws may be their greatest strengths. Murmurs rippled through the audience. Observer 12 activated the holographic display, showing scenes from its research. Consider their bizarre habit of seeking out stress and challenge. It continued, showing humans running marathons and climbing mountains. While other species avoid difficulty, humans actively search for it. They deliberately tear their muscles to make them stronger. They expose themselves to harsh conditions to build resistance. The display shifted to show footage from the Mars colony crisis. When faced with deadly radiation, they didn't retreat. They adapted. When offered safer alternatives, they trusted their own flexibility over automated systems. Several council members shifted uncomfortably as they watched humans working in dangerous conditions, making jokes even as their radiation badges turned red. In isolation, where other species withdraw, Observer 12 continued, showing footage from the social experiment humans create. They invent games, tell stories, make music from nothing. Their minds don't shut down. They expand. The next images showed human laboratories. Their approach to science horrified us at first. They embrace accidents, celebrate mistakes, find opportunities in failure. But look at the results. Their chaotic methods have produced innovations we never imagined. Observer 12 paused, letting its words sink in. We've been asking the wrong question. Instead of asking what's wrong with humans, we should ask, what can we learn from them? The display showed a montage of human activities. Children learning to walk after falling repeatedly, students practicing until they mastered skills, athletes pushing through pain, scientists celebrating failed experiments that led to new discoveries. Humans have taught us that comfort isn't always the path to progress. Their constant drive to challenge themselves, to push boundaries, to embrace difficulty. These aren't signs of dysfunction. They're evidence of extraordinary adaptation. The alien researchers' skin shifted to a shade of deep conviction. They show us that failures aren't endings, they're beginnings. That stress isn't always harmful, it can be transformative. That chaos doesn't always lead to destruction, it can spark creation. Observer 12 displayed its final slide. A simple image of Earth. In my time studying humans, I've learned that they don't just survive adversity. They thrive on it. They don't just endure challenges. They seek them out. They don't just accept change. They create it. Therefore, I recommend we revise our classification of humanity. They're not a species that needs fixing. They're a species that fixes things, including themselves. Their apparent madness masks a deeper wisdom, one that we would do well to understand. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some council members appeared shocked, others intrigued. A few seemed skeptical. Observer 12 waited for quiet before delivering its final words. Members of the council, we came to study humans thinking we would find a broken species. Instead, we found beings who turn breaking points into turning points. Yes, they do things that seem crazy to us. They jump out of perfectly good aircraft. They eat food that burns their mouths. They watch scary stories for fun. They work until they're exhausted, then work some more. But look what these crazy behaviors have produced. A species that adapts to any environment, overcomes any obstacle, and keeps pushing forward no matter what. Perhaps in the end, that's not madness at all. Perhaps it's exactly what evolution intended. As Observer 12 concluded its presentation, a new message flashed on its datapad. Another human marathon event was starting on Mars. The alien researcher found itself smiling, its skin shifting to a shade of admiration. Asterisk Final Report Addendum. After extensive study, I can definitively say what's wrong with humans. Absolutely nothing. And that's what makes them extraordinary. Asterisk.